Hello. Today we're going to go over some UI options. I've been asked before to talk about my UI and just why do I play with certain effects off and why do I play with it on and how do I play with it on and how do I turn off the, dying red screen or whatever. We'll just go over all my UI options. So we're going to start with the HUD and everything that's available within when you're playing the game. So all you got to do is go down to the settings here on the very bottom under or above adventure support, and then you're going to go to edit UI. And this is how I have my UI set up. There's no really rhyme or reason why I have it set this up. You'll meet some players that will tell you, oh, I turn off the level point information because it affects performance. It makes me lag. I genuinely have no idea how that would be even physically possible to tell. I don't know where that information comes from. I have no idea. It's just like I've asked, I'm like, how do you know that, right? Like, how do you know that health bar causes lag? And they're like, well, it's added animations. It's got to cause lag. And it just, I've played with it on, I've played with it off for years on both parts. I still lag all the same. The game still freezes. The game still crashes. The game still stutters. I don't notice a damn difference. The only reason I play with it off, which is my own personal reason, is because it's screen clutter and I think it's ugly. That's really it. So you can believe whatever you feel like on that matter. For me, I play with it off because I don't like to have screen clutter. So that is a preference. That is just a me thing. You do not have to play with it on or off. You can do whatever you want. But for me, I don't like it on because it's ugly. So there's that. The one thing I will say, the family buff, you might want to play with this on just for a little bit until you get used to it. The reason being is that whenever you have Agris on, right? So, oh my God, this fucking UI shit. So we go over here and then we go Agris, and then boom, you can see the little circle around the Agris, like little orb. That you might not be used to it being turned on or off. And as you can tell, it's just lit up there, so it gives you a well-known notification that, hey, Agris is turned on. Now, when I first turned this off and I started to play with it, I would forget that Agris is still on, and I would go to grind spots that aren't Agris efficient, and I would accidentally burn all of my Agris. So just as like a preference for you that may not be used to the same thing that I'm used to, I might play with this on for a little bit, get used to turning it off regularly after every grind spot, after every hour, or just after every grind session that you're doing. So that's just, this could be something that would help you keep track of your Agris to make sure to turn it off. But if you're like me and stubborn, just turn that shit off and suffer the consequences. Once you blow through all your Agris a couple times and get pissed off about it, you'll start to remember. So trial by fire, you know what I'm saying? So just turn that shit off, honestly. And as far as everything else, it's mainly preference. Nothing here is really about performance. It's just about how I prefer my UI to look. Like, I moved my mount information all the way over under my mini map. If you guys see right there, I moved it over there. And the reason being is because I don't like to, like when I pull up to GVGs, it'll sometimes be in areas where there's mobs that can kill my horse. And I like to keep track of my horse not dying because I have a fucking mental illness that just, when I see a horse death on my fucking, on my steed here, I just get upset. I just get mad. And I'm like, damn it, now I gotta go reset it. It doesn't actually bother me. I just don't like seeing the one death on it, but I just reset it anyway. I've reset my horse death all the fucking time. For as much as I hate my horse dying, I kill my horse quite often, so it really doesn't make a difference. But if you like to keep track and you want to make sure your horse is parked in a safe area for maybe when you're grinding and you need to horse stack loot, you might want to know when your horse is being attacked, because without the little thing, you won't really notice that it's being attacked and whatnot. So you might not get the notification. So I keep it on under my mini map because it looks a little bit cleaner. Naturally, it's in the top left corner, so I just moved it under the mini map because, like I said, I think it looks a little bit better in that area. And as far as everything else, again, preference, no real performance. The only thing I will say is the ring menu. This is something that you would have to turn off if you're comfortable. For me, I've been playing Warrior for years now. I've been playing Zerker for years. I've been playing Valkyrie for years. Those three classes are probably my most adept classes that I have like the memorization of abilities on my, you know, hotbar between like solar flare here or being able to use this or any other ability. I have it all memorized pretty much, so I can play with it off and I just have that muscle memory where I don't need to look at it. But for newer players that need to adjust and that may need to still kind of look down at their ring menu to make sure that they have the proper ability or press the right button, you might want to play with this on for until you're completely comfortable with your muscle memory. But that's, you know, preference, that's up to you. For me, I play with it off because I know where the abilities are and I don't have to look at them to, you know, refresh my memory. So I turn that off. That's just me as a preference thing. So that's kind of up to you. And yeah, that's kind of really it. There's nothing else. Copy this layout if you want. That's really it. Okay, so let's go over the shrunken UI thing. All right, so you're gonna go to ring menu settings. All right, you're gonna click this and you're gonna go over to the menu section. You can put this wherever you feel like. For me, I'm gonna put it on my little hotbar here that I have on my LT down. So you're gonna scroll all the way down to, I want to say it's the bottom. Oh no, it's right here. Edit UI. Okay, you're gonna ring menu this. All right, so I'm gonna put this on LT down and then right thumbstick down. So pop this up and then boom, you'll get this here. This is the wrong one. Shit, I just lied to you. Completely ignore me. We need to find the other one. It's give me a second here to find it. Oh, here we go. Adjust UI size. It's towards the middle section here. Jesus Christ, so many fucking menu options. Yeah, if you just go on the bottom, on the far right, it's under toggle chat, and then this one you put here, and then you LT down, and boom, here we go. This you can shrink as much as you want. Originally, the way it is yours is probably like this, where it's like full blown, like super large mode. Everything's in the corners and symmetrical. As you can see, little things are kind of fucked up and out of place and out of the ordinary. I used to play like this, and now when I look at it, I just want to throw up and just throw myself off a bridge. So I play with it shrunk now. You might be asking, what is the reason? A lot of people say that the shrunken UI allows more performance. It increases FPS. It reduces the amount of lag. I call copium. I really don't think that it does any of that. For me, I've just played with the shrunken UI for so long that whenever I look at the large one, I just think it's absolutely atrocious and ugly. I wish I could make the corners touch and, you know, even play with the shrunken UI and then just position everything in the top corners. But, you know, we don't have that option, so it sucks. But yeah, I play with it like this because everything's a bit more minimalistic, less screen space being taken up and whatnot. So I prefer it like this. I can't play like it used to anymore. What's going to happen is if you do play with the shrunken UI and you choose to play this way, you're going to hate it at first, and then you're going to play with it for a while and it's going to completely set in. And if you ever try and go back to the large UI, you will never be able to play with it again because you're going to think everything's too big, too ugly, and you're just not going to fuck with it. So, but yeah, as far as performance goes, I don't notice a difference. I still lag, I still crash. Doesn't solve anything. It may increase FPS by 0.01%. Sure, whatever, make that argument. I don't think it does jack dick. I think it just looks better. So that's it. All right, so now that that's out of the way, we're gonna go to the actual settings now and start turning shit off. So for this one, you can kind of just do, you know, put whatever you want. You can copy this if you feel like it. I'm just gonna kind of go through these slowly and you guys can just copy it if you want to. This is what I have for that. Performance settings, that's what I have there. Display, we're gonna go to display quality. I have all of this turned off. Whenever you do large scale, if you ever join a large scale guild where you do siege and node wars where you're fighting a massive amount of players, removing others' effects can be beneficial to a degree. I play with them on because I like to know what I'm getting into. When you turn effects off, it makes it very difficult to kind of tell what's happening. So like you might not be seeing a player use ability that could CC you. You may not look at abilities that do a lot of damage, and you may need to iframe appropriately. I like to use my you know, just eyes to see, because I play a lot of characters and I fight a lot, so I recognize what abilities are supposed to do what. And whenever I recognize, oh, this guy's using an ability that could CC me, I may need to block, I may need to iframe, move out of the way, SA trade, whatever. So I choose to not remove others effects, but there are tons of players that play with effects off, like they play with them just completely off. So they turn this option on and it will just, you won't see any effects from enemies whatsoever. This one, I could believe for sure it improves performance because you don't have all these like super particle effects and all these giant insane effects everywhere. So this one I could 100% believe improves performance 1000%, but I gotta be honest, I've turned it off and on before and I still crash, I still lagged all the same. Again, I'm sure it improves FPS, but I think that in terms of does it fix all the problems, absolutely not. So at this point I just choose to lag with it on because I still lag with it off. So doesn't make a difference. You can do it if you want, but that's really up to you. And as far as blood splatter goes, I gotta be honest, I didn't even know there's blood splatter in this game. I've had this off since the jump. I've never even turned this on because I never even knew it was a thing. So sure, I don't know. And all this blood stain, blood splat, turn that shit off. If you turn it on, you'll barely even notice that shit's there. As far as the effects, which I don't know what effects this does, it's just the gamma, the brightness. I just keep mine on 70. Reason being is because when you go to Valencia, if you crank this up a little too much, you will get flashbanged by the desert because the desert, for whatever reason, the sand out there is just flashbang levels of brightness. So try and keep this low-ish. Don't crank it up too much because you will get blind in the desert. Camera graphics, this is camera vision range. A lot of people don't actually know what this is about. So the way that this functions, right, you can crank this out to where you have a giant vision, right? So as you can see in the background here, if I reduce it, it gets closer and closer to my character, right? So this one, again, I've heard various things. Some players like to keep it close because apparently a close camera to your character reduces the amount of lag and FPS drop. And some players prefer to place it farther out because they believe that the farther the camera and like the farther and higher it is from your character, you can move faster, or like, I don't know, like for Zerker, there's a lot of Zerkers that play with their camera like this, like, so I'll show you guys in a minute. I'll show you how to do this too. A lot of Zerkers play like this, where they just have all their camera options in the sky pretty much, and like their characters at the very bottom. And I used to play like this too when I was playing Zerker, and it felt like you do move faster. It really does feel that way. I think it's copium and just the way the camera angles are, everything looks a lot faster, but I don't know, I can't tell. But there's a lot of players that play like this because they believe that it increases their movement speed, or how fast they're moving, or how much like FPS you get, and it gives off the impression that you're moving faster. I've played with both. Again, same thing that I always say before. I've lagged all the same. It never really made any difference whatsoever. So I just kept mine on 55, and I've kept it there for years. And yeah. Also, if you guys want to know about that camera option, just hold down right thumbstick, just hold it down, and then it'll bring up adjust camera, and then you can use the D-pad to adjust your, camera options, how close you want it, how far, whatever. And I know a lot of people were asking about this too, so you can do this as well. And yeah, for me, I usually keep my options like right about here-ish. I put mine at 85, and yeah, I usually play like this. So this is just my preference. You can play however you feel like it, but this is just me, so it's up to you. So that's camera graphics. Figure that out. HDR, this one, never turn on under any circumstances. Never turn this on. Basically, this, if you have a console that can run 4K, it will pretty much shoot the graphic fidelity up to 4K options. And if you thought you had bad FPS before, this one will absolutely make you feel like you are just on fire, because it just looks awful. Like, we're gonna turn it on just so you can see how awful this is. So when you do this, you have to reset, but I'm just gonna show you so that way you know what it looks like, and you don't just go and waste your time testing this shit yourself. I'll waste my time for you. All right, I reloaded, so we'll see what it looks like. Oh god, I can see my console's exploding. Cool. All right, we're loading back in. We good? My in? Oh, there's my horse. Things are loading in. All right, so yeah, this is what 4K looks like, and as you can tell, shit doesn't look as sweet as you would think it does. I can already see the FPS percentage, just like the quality is gone down. Like, sure, everything might look a little bit sharper, a little bit more clean. My character, like, you can probably, yeah, like the detail is a lot better, and you can just see things like the little like grooves on his armor and things a little bit more clearly. And it looks good in terms of just like looking at it. But this is the same thing as like turning on ultra mode on PC, right? Like, it's a screenshot thing. If you want to take like high fidelity screenshots and things like that, but like playing like this, like, you can just tell it's ugly. Like, maybe not, because YouTube might be compressing this video and whatnot, and it might change the quality, but I can tell from just like everything's a little bit more choppy. The FPS is not as clean. Like, this is barely 30 FPS at best. And yeah, it's really, really ugly. So overall, don't turn on the 4K option. It's not really worth it. Also, for some reason, there's like weird motion blur shit. Yeah, it's ugly. It's not very good. Don't play with it. Don't play with the game like this. The moment that you get into any large scale conflict or anything like that, you're just gonna know that there's a problem with it. So yeah, keep the 4K option off. That's not even a preference, that's mandatory, because if you play with this shit on, you're gonna be upset. So when you turn it off, you have to reload and everything. I'll reload in a minute. We'll just continue on with the video like this. So audio settings, I usually just, I mean, this is just preference. This doesn't even, like, you can do whatever you want. Although if you do want to turn off your annoying fairy's voice, because that lady do be talking way too much, so you want to turn that off, just go to audio settings and then just very bottom, toggle fairy's voice, and you're good. As far as everything else, I usually put the volume pretty low. For me specifically, because I like to control my audio for videos, so I can crank it up if I need to in an editing software for certain videos. But for you, if you don't do that, you can put it wherever you want. That, again, that's preference. It's not really, you guys know how to do it. All right, so now we get into the more important stuff here. So general settings, this is where like you have your names and rankings. So naturally, you'll see this right here, and you'll have this above your head, and you'll be able to it'll tell you your guild and all this stuff. I don't like to look at this. I know what guild I'm in. I know what my title is. I know what my family name is. I know what my character name is. I don't know why I would ever want this on. I don't know who likes to look at this whatsoever. I don't. Maybe if you got a really cool, unique title, maybe you like looking at that. I don't give two shits, so I turn it off. I always hide it. That's been my preference for a long time, so that's kind of up to you. HP gauge, I keep this on because I play with the one in the top corner off. So if you hide the HP gauge, as you can see, it completely gets rid of the HP gauge. Some people may like to play like that. I don't. If you have the HP bar in the top left turned on, maybe you might like playing with it like this. But for me, since I have it off, I need to see my HP bar and my mana bar to make sure that my pots are ticking appropriately and whatnot. So that's just something that I play with it on. As far as everything else here, I'm going to go through slowly, and you guys can copy it however you want. But I don't think I've changed really much of anything in the show/hide section. There's, the fairy. If you turn this on, your fairy kind of floats around you and will just, fly everywhere and just kind of be annoying. I got tired of looking at her. Some people say, again, it affects performance. Never really noticed a difference with her on or off. I just thought it was annoying looking at all her fruity particle effects that are just flying everywhere, so whatever. As far as pets go, this one, I just got tired of looking at him too. Again, people say it affects performance. I never noticed a difference. I just got tired of looking at him. And I have no idea what this is. I don't know what this transparent mask or what. I have no idea. I assume this has something to do with the damn boat, and I barely ever go on a boat, so on or off makes no difference to me. All right, so let's move to notifications. This is where I have a lot of stuff off, and I still wish I could turn stuff off. So I pretty much have everything off on here. Like, there's not a damn thing that I really have on here except for my fitness levels and conquest wars. So I get notifications when node wars are on, or like whenever a guild gets killed, or whenever a node war is starting or ending. I get those notifications. I prefer to get those because I do stuff within my guild for conquest wars and node wars and things like that. So no matter what, I keep this on just for certain reasons. But yeah, Fitness level, you can turn this off. This really doesn't make any difference whatsoever. It's fine. As far as Guild Wars, this I turn off because there's always decks being thrown out every 5 seconds. So if you don't like getting that pop-up on screen where it's like, you know, this guild has, or war has broken out between these guilds or whatever, if you got tired of seeing that or don't need to see that anymore, you can turn that off. I know some people like to keep it on because they like to just know what's going on, and they see like enemy guilds like, oh, that guild's fighting that guild, and like I could give two rat's asses about who's fighting who, so I don't care. Friend login alert, don't need this shit. Guild members login, don't need this shit. Guild missions, don't need this shit. I don't know what the hell this even means. Item obtained, this will just completely get rid of all of like the little, when you're picking up trash loot, this will get rid of that and it won't show you that you're picking up trash loot. I tried to play with this off, and then I realized that I was grinding for about 3 hours, and I went to check my trash loot, and I just realized that I wasn't picking up trash loot at all, and I just thought it was because of the effects, and I was like, huh, it's been a while since I haven't been over encumbered with trash loot, and I realized I just was grinding to grind. So yeah, after that I got pissed off and just left it on forever. Central market pre-orders, I keep this on because if I put a pre-order on something, it will tell me when something's getting listed for the item that I have pre-ordered, for like pen accessories or weapons, for example, that are over 10 billion silver. This is just helpful. Like if I have a min bid up and I see something that's going up for a bid higher, I will be able to get a notification, and then I can go snipe it if I choose to do so. That's, you know, preference. Mortal danger, if you don't like the red screen, like where it looks like you're dying or whatever, and the red edges of your screen just glow, you can turn mortal danger off, and that's I got tired of that shit, and I just decided to turn that shit off. And Black Shrine first Vanquisher notification, this is Land of the Morning Light bosses. If you don't really care on who beat what boss, you can just turn this off and it won't show you that notification anymore. And as far as region goes, you can just leave it international, doesn't really matter, it doesn't do anything. And others, so here I have a couple settings that I've changed too. So play with adventures from the same platform, just leave it off. It doesn't really matter. Like you're gonna want to play with the player base is already small as shit anyway, so limiting the options is terrible. Keep crossplay on, turn this off. And then overall camera effect, okay, some people are playing, I still see this to this day, I still see this quite often, and they play with their camera effects on full crank mode. Okay, now what that does is it does all these goofy effects that just look like, oh my eyes, oh my god, how do you guys play like this? I see clips all the time of these monkeys playing like this, and I'm just like, bro, how do you even tell what's happening? It's ridiculous. Sometimes I will turn them on for video effects if I'm doing like you know, some like scenes for montages or like little entry things. Like I turn them on a little bit, but going full cranked 100, you're a psychopath if you do that. I play with these off naturally, but if you want to play with them on, you know, a healthy 10 is okay, where you get a little bit of that screen shake, you know, it still gives off that power feeling, you know, that you see a little bit of, you know, you get that powerful feeling. So that's okay. If you want to play like that, that's fine. But, you know, playing with it on full blast or anything above 10% is ridiculous. You're a complete psychopath if you play anything above 10. So yeah, for me, I play with it 0. Same thing as everything else. People say that it affects performance. It probably does to some degree. I don't know. I've played with it on at 10 before and off. I still lag all the same, so it makes no difference, honestly. Combat assistance, this, if you play with this, you're a demon. You are an absolute failure. If you need to play the game with combat assistance, stop playing BDO right now, because nobody is going to ever respect you if you play with this on, because basically what this does is automatically directs your abilities to mobs. So you could be facing the complete wrong way, and this will auto lock onto your opponent or any enemy combatant in the area, and it will just move your character for you. It's really shitty. It's kind of scummy because it's cheese as fuck. If you want to get like a cheeky grab or something, you could use an ability that locks onto an opponent and then grab immediately afterwards. Yeah, it's really just it's shitty. If you play with this on, you're a scumbag, honestly. And as far as everything else goes, you can just keep the, you know, copy whatever I have here if you want to. That's up to you. Yeah, there you go. Nothing too crazy. Hide other campsites though. That's a huge one. You should definitely put that on, because, you know, when you're doing a lot of wars or you're going to areas that have, you know, GVGs pop off, you'll see tents everywhere. So definitely turn this off. And as far as interface settings go, this one is just controllers and stuff. You can, I'll start from the top here for the controller interface. You can copy this however you want. The one thing I will say about the controller settings is that the camera acceleration is what needs to be on in order to move faster with your camera. So if you turn it off, well, actually, I'll show you the difference real quick. So we'll keep this right here. So this is my camera speed, right? Okay, so if we go to that option and we turn that off, let's scroll all the way down here and turn this off, you can see it's much slower. So it's like the kick up time is slower. Like it's very slow. So for a lot of characters, you're gonna need camera speed movement because you need to be able to turn on a dime to like hit certain abilities, and abilities that can be aimed mid like spell animation. So you're gonna want this on at all times to make sure that you can rotate your speed as much as physically possible. Now, as for controller sensitivity, I've been asked a million times, what's my sensitivity? How do I increase my sensitivity? What's a healthy sensitivity? Me personally, I play on 55 across the board for all characters. Certain characters, you need to have a higher one. Like for Zerker, I play full cranked on Zerker because he needs to be able to move and rotate on a dime to grab people, to move and reposition with his giant's leap and things like that. So some characters you may want to play with a higher sensitivity, but for characters like Warrior, for example, I don't need that much of a high sensitivity. In fact, I grab a lot on Warrior because I play Succession, so our main like CC is going to be a grab 90% of the time because we don't have a lot of KDs in our kit, so we have to grab quite often, and we do a lot of peeling. And for me, I'm on flex, so whenever I'm peeling for my teammates and making sure they stay alive, so that way they can damage annexes and whatnot. So I need a decent sensitivity where I'm not overcorrecting or undercorrecting. So it took me a while to find a healthy point of, you know, sensitivity for the horizontal version. So I play on 55 for Warrior. Zerker, I play full cranked. Honestly, my recommendation is mess around with whatever you feel comfortable with. Just make sure you have disable camera rotation acceleration turned on, and then find a comfortable setting. If you want my suggestion on how to find a comfortable sensitivity, I would for sure start somewhere around 35. Always play with vertical like negative because that's just up and down. You don't really need that a whole lot, and plus 10 is more than adequate for that. But if for left and right sensitivity, the horizontal settings, you should start here at 35 and then gradually increase it. Like find whatever you're comfortable with at first, and then if you want it to be a little bit higher, increase it by 5 every week. So on Sunday, keep it as whatever it is. Next Sunday, increase it by 5, play with it like that for a week. Next week, increase it by 5 again. If you think it's too much, go back to what it was. If you think it's still slow, keep going week by week. Increase it by 5 every week. That is what I did in order to find that 55 is my comfortable sensitivity. I've done 100, I've done 75, 85, etc. And personally, for Warrior, playing on higher sensitivity, I can't really do that. For Succession, Awakening, I can get away with it because I need to do that for Solar Flare and Balance Strike and things like that. But for Succession, 55 is my preference. And as far as everything else goes, like adjusting rotating camera while moving, just do manual camera. Don't do auto camera. Don't do that. Please don't do that. And chat window settings, this is just kind of like what you want to appear in your chat. So like whenever you see all this like this chat window, right here in the custom section, this is what you will see whenever you have those menus enabled. So for me, the only things I have is server, guild, and the like general chat. Those are the only, and whispers of course, but yeah, that's really it when it comes to the chat options. So copy this if you want to, that's up to you. For me, I'm just gonna scroll down and you can copy what you feel like it. Yeah, there you go. Nothing too crazy. I keep all this other stuff off because this is just clutter that I didn't like looking at. So there you go. Those are my settings. That's everything from the UI to how I have mine set up and examples of what things do. Even though you have this video to reference and you can go around looking through all this stuff, it's all preference, to be honest. It's really just all preference. So it's up to you what you want to do. Find what's comfortable. I've given you the options how to change things. If you have any questions, I will answer them as best as I can. But yeah, that's it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye bye.